There were a lot of results that we could see after doing the analysis. Both the raw data had messages that we started seeing that they were coming strong. And of course, we did a very rigorous statistical analysis, principal factor analysis that allowed us to identify a lot of other things that we can validate. But I would say there are 7 key lessons that I feel very comfortable to defend as a result of what we saw in the data and the analysis we did. First of all, as you would expect, there are a lot of changes that are happening in global supply chains. And the period of 4 or 5 years is a period where many things can be reversed. It was very clear that the factors that were driving potential reshoring at the end of 2008, 2009, by 2015, some of them were not there. The inflation of wages in China is not at the same rate anymore. Our currency is much stronger. The oil prices, for sure, as you have seen by driving home, they are much lower, and the logistic costs are not as much of an issue. And of course, now the fracking revolution doesn't have the same impact in the energy policies of companies and where they're going to locate. So 4 or 5 years can change the picture. They drive changes, and you can clearly see it. It was well documented. So that is lesson number 1. There's continuous flow on what is happening in global supply chains. The second one is that offshoring is happening. Offshoring is alive. Offshoring might be getting much more important in certain industries. So for sure it's there, and for sure we're seeing it happening with North American firms. So that's the one side. Offshoring in the past have costed a lot of jobs. If you go from 2010 to now, we know that we have lost in manufacturing close to 5 million jobs, and at least half of them are due to offshoring. And might imply that the increase in offshoring in certain industries might drive even more jobs away. Probably the most important pattern that we see, and of course I would say these are the good news for us living in North America, is that there is the potential that the North American region is at the cusp of becoming a production hub and having a substantial manufacturing renaissance. We see increases in investments in manufacturing capacity in North America. The early perception that that was happening as a result of our own firms bringing back some of the manufacturing investments is not necessarily true. Some of it is happening for some firms, but the majority of the increases of investments in manufacturing in the North American region are coming from Asian and European firms. Our market has always been attractive and continues to remain attractive. It's always very stable with high-skilled workers, especially for industries that are looking for higher skill and knowledge and research and innovation. And at the same time, there are factors that we described before, like the currency being at a reasonable level and reasonably stable, especially if you are buying from the outside. Having a stronger dollar allows you to buy cheaper. And of course, if you are selling in a country that has a strong currency, it's better for you to be within that country and selling to that particular market. Those are factors that are arguing for it. But we do believe, especially from Asian firms, as their companies are getting much more competitive and are assuming more of a world, global level competition, they would like to be in what is one of the major markets of the world. Some will say the most significant market of the world for certain industries, and play a role there. Lenovo brought back some of its manufacturing capacity in the United States. Some of the large state-owned enterprises from China are making investments, and some people anticipate the next 10 years we might see as high as $50 billion of investments in manufacturing by Chinese firms. The Western European firms are getting out of their region. They like us as a great base because of the knowledge of our suppliers and our workers, and of course a great market, but at the same time a great production hub in many situations where they can supply not only North America but other regions of the world from here. So these are the good news, and we should be getting really good in attracting those companies offering them incentives to be here because they can create a lot of employment opportunities. On the other hand, we should be looking a little at why we see that divestment for some of the American firms away from our region and try to see how we can stop it. You can always go back to recent stories and tax inversion. I don't necessarily have the data to tell you that this is the reason that drives it, but for sure it's something we need to consider. But for sure, there are good news that we have increases in manufacturing capacity in the United States. And as we try to imply, it's not necessarily true that a lot of that is reshoring, but it's definitely good news to have increases in manufacturing output in our region.